Hello and welcome to Top Select 10. Welcome, movie lovers, to Cinema Picks. If you're looking for the hottest new releases on Netflix in 2024, you've come to the right place. From action-packed blockbusters to heartwarming dramas and edge-of-your-seat thrillers, we've got you covered. Today, we're counting down the top 10 new movies on Netflix this year that you cannot miss. Grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's dive into the most talked-about film streaming now. Be sure to watch till the end. There's a surprise pick you didn't see coming. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more Netflix recommendations every week. Before starting the video, I request you to subscribe my channel. I need your support. Please support me. Let's start the video. Number 10. Under Paris. Under Paris is a 2024 French action horror disaster film. The scientist Sophia Asselas is researching the shark Lilith, aka Beacon 7, in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch with her partner Jade on board and her team of 4 men divers, including her husband Chris. When they see Lilith, Chris notes that the shark has grown more than the usual, and he tries to take a blood sample for the research. However, Lilith attacks the divers, slaughters them, and flees from Sophia. 3 years later, the traumatized Sophia is working at an aquarium when the 20-year-old activist Mika, who works with a group of environmentalists, brings Sophia to her base, and her colleague Ben shows the beacon of Lilith trapped in the Seine. Mika searches for Lilith, but is arrested by the river police under the command of Sergeant Adil. She calls Sophia, but the police officers are reluctant to believe that there is a shark in the Seine. But when a dead man is found with shark bites, Adil believes in Sophia and team up with her. They ask the mayor of Paris to call off the triathlon that will happen in the Seine in a couple of days, but the politician refuses and a tragedy happens in Paris. Number 9. Outside. Outside is a 2024 Philippine post-apocalyptic drama horror film. In Philippines, after a zombie apocalypse, Francis, his wife Iris and their sons, the teenage Joshua Josh and the boy Lucas, travel in a van to seek shelter at Francis's parents' farmhouse in the countryside. Francis finds the corpse of his father, who committed suicide, and his mother, who turned into a zombie, and he shoots her. Francis and his family lodge in the house, but Iris wants to head north where there are shelters. The arrival at the farmhouse triggers madness to Francis since he was abused by his father, and along the days, his insanity affects the family bonds with tragic consequences. This film is a game-changer for Philippine horror/thriller cinema. It dives deep into the realistic struggles of a troubled family, shedding light on childhood trauma and the emotional wounds passed down from father to son. What really struck me was the father's genuine desire to do what's best for his family, despite his unresolved trauma, yet he faces resistance. It's a heartbreaking portrayal of generational pain. Big kudos to the entire cast for bringing such depth to the story. Number 8. Don't Move. Don't Move is a 2024 American thriller film. The grieving Iris wakes up early in the morning and goes to the memorial in the park where her beloved son, Mateo, fell to his death. She is thinking and committing suicide, jumping off the same cliff, when a young man, Richard, dissuades her. She returns to the parking lot with Richard, and he kidnaps her. He injects a substance that will shut down her body in 20 minutes, but she succeeds in forcing him to crash his car into a tree and flees to a river. Her paralyzed body is found by an old farmer, Bill, that brings her home. When he is going to call the police, Richard arrives at his farmhouse. The numb Iris is hidden behind the couch while Richard has an argument with Bill, then subdues him. What will happen to Bill and Iris? Number 7. Justice. Justice is a 2024 Polish crime drama film. A bank robbery ends up with casualties, and the 3 robbers are out there as the evidence available isn't enough to pin them. A disgraced investigator is given an opportunity to solve this case while working with a prosecutor, and he is one tough cop who goes by the book. On the other hand, the antagonist is the one who wants to stay out of prison no matter what. He is a by-the-book criminal who brings in the known tricks to escape. The cop has to nab this criminal in 15 days, and what transpires in that period forms the story. This Polish investigative drama, rather than a thriller, sticks to its template. I wouldn't call it a thriller as there is no suspense in who is the culprit, and the steps he takes to save himself aren't surprising either. What has worked though is the whole setup and the performances. There are no over-the-top action scenes. The writing does push towards the obvious, and the backstory to the villain is not as effective. The serious cop played by Olaf Lubozenko is the main highlight, and he brings in the right amount of intensity in his performance. 2 of the confrontational scenes between Olaf Lubozenko and Jedrzej Hickner, who plays the antagonist, were well executed. Overall, Justice is a one-time watch at best and offers nothing new. It is the performances that drive the film. Number 6. Heart of the Hunter. Heart of the Hunter is a 2024 film. The quiet retirement of a once-feared assassin in South Africa is interrupted by a desperate call from the daughter of an old and trusted friend whose father has been kidnapped. He uncovers a conspiracy at the heart of the government. Absolutely fantastic. The storyline, the cinematography, and the actors. The diversity in the show is incredible. What a well-made movie. The director did so well. We need more movies like this in South Africa. It was a refreshing change from the usual drugs, taxi/micro-violence, and sex-based movies we've been getting. What a film. I would recommend it to anyone who's into action films. The great thing is that the action is South African-based, too, on the weapons used. It's truly a South African film in every possible way. I could go on and on. Well done to the entire team involved. No flaws exist. Number 5. Colors of Evil, Red. Colors of Evil, Red is a 2024 Polish mystery crime thriller film. A Tri-City beach becomes a place of dramatic discovery when the sea washes up the body of a young girl. The victim's unusual mutilation points to murder. The investigation is headed by an ambitious and tenacious prosecutor, Leopold Bilski. The victim's mother, Judge Helena Baguka, is also involved in the investigation. All clues lead to one of the seaside clubs, which turns out to be related to the murder of a woman from 15 years ago. From the information collected during the investigation and the evidence concealed for years, the dark face of the criminal Tri-City slowly emerges. Bilski and Baguka's discoveries begin to be very inconvenient for the local police. Number 4. Damsel. Damsel is a 2024 American dark fantasy film. A young woman, Elodie, meets a handsome prince and they fall in love. At their wedding, it is revealed that the prince had more sinister reasons for courting her. She is to be sacrificed to a dragon that has been terrorizing the kingdom. Elodie now has to fight for her survival. The movie was solid. It's creative enough, has good special effects, and a couple of nice twists to keep you from getting too comfortable. It wasn't an amazing film, and some of the acting was a little wooden, including the typically brilliant Angela Bassett. The pacing is a little awkward early on, but once it picks up, it keeps your attention. Number 3. Code 8, Part 2. Code 8, Part 2 is a 2024 Canadian superhero science fiction action film. After witnessing the murder of her brother and subsequent cover-up, a teenage girl with abnormal abilities seeks the help of an ex-con and his former partner in crime. Together, they face a unit of corrupt police officers who deploy advanced robotic technology to prevent themselves from being exposed. Following the sequel to the first part of the Code 8, led by the Amell cousins, progresses the story of the previous film while also giving a new plot to look at. While the overall dynamic and gist of the movie remains the same throughout, if you were a fan of the previous part, you may find this one a bit underwhelming or lackluster. With that being said, this movie is still worth a watch if you have some free time to kill. Towards the end, the story does get a bit tense, and the villain Sergeant King Kingston, while portrayed as your typical manipulative villain, was still enjoyable. Number 2. Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scargiver. Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scargiver is a 2024 American epic space opera film. Korra returns to Velt with the farmer Gunnar and the warriors Titus, Nemesis, Darien Bloodaxe, and Turok. Titus commands the defense of the farmers and asks them to harvest the grains and use them to protect their homes. While waiting for Atticus Noble and his men, they disclose their pasts waiting for the showdown with the Mother World's force. I watched both versions and Snyder's edit is way better than the original release. Getting to see the director's true vision filled in some elements to the story that were left out on the earlier version. Those added elements filled out the characters, made them three-dimensional by including the backstory. The earlier versions of the show were disjointed with an ending that left me dissatisfied, feeling as though I had just watched a half-assed attempt to remake Star Wars. In fact, it was so bad I actually fell asleep on the show. Snyder's personal kept me involved throughout the almost 6 hours of the two-parter. If you watch this before, I strongly suggest you give the new and improved versions a try. Number 1. A Place Called Silence. A Place Called Silence is a 2024 Chinese crime thriller film. Chen Yutong, a girls' middle school student, was bullied at school, but her mother Li Han was unable to save her daughter from the hell. Everyone around her turned a blind eye, and a collective silence brewed greater violence. I'm quite surprised that this is a Chinese movie. Unlike many traditional Chinese films, it avoids overly dramatic scenes and dialogues, delivering a refreshing and modern take on storytelling. The effects are impressive, and the color saturation of the film is spot on, enhancing its overall aesthetic appeal. The cinematography is carefully crafted, creating a visually striking experience that perfectly complements the narrative. The pacing is steady and keeps you engaged without overwhelming you, which is a rarity in some Chinese productions. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like and share the video. Thank you.